Man to man, combat hand to hand, hands locked, ready for the last stand, elbow drops, kicks fade bang. If I connect you, levitate, better settle mate, lights out, knocked out by the heavyweight.
It's Toby from Heavyweight MMA here today with a rising star from Perth, Western Australia, Jack Della Maddalena, the next of the Aussie contingency to join the UFC. Man, thank you for coming on. Great to see you.
Awesome, Toby. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
Mate, you've been a little bit elusive, hard man to catch. It's been a busy couple of months for you, right?
I know. It has been busy. You know, I was away. I was just trying to stay out of the social media thing. I'm trying to switch off my phone. Nothing personal. Wasn't trying to be an asshole, but yeah, just busy couple of weeks, and we were just getting into the ready to fight, So, but it's nice to be home.
Yeah, man. Hey, it's been a great month, I would say, for UFC in Australia. We had firstly you on the Contender doing an outstanding performance, getting yourself a UFC contract, followed obviously by Alex Volkanovski, absolutely kicking ass over there. And then just on the weekend at Jamie Malaki, also kicking ass in UFC, securing a second round knockout. Great month for you guys.
Yeah, real cool month. Obviously, Volko, that was an incredible fight. Even Casey O'Neill, she's Australian at heart, I feel, and she had an awesome performance, and she's getting closer to that title. So yeah, it looks like that, like the Anzacs, we're slowly getting to the top. You know, the Australians are getting there. Obviously, New Zealand's are already there, but I think we're just behind them getting there.
That's it, man. Actually, I should have mentioned Casey. A great performance against a big name, right? And like you said, the New Zealand's Dan Hooker, also amazing performance and a big fight coming up. I hope he kicks ass in his next fight, man. Yeah,
for sure. Hopefully he gets that win, you know, and would never back Dan Hooker out of a fight.
That's it, man. So Perth has a bit of a history with some combat stars, man. You're up and rising. If you look up Perth fighter, you're starting to pop up everywhere, man. Obviously, we've had Danny Green. We've had Daniel Dawson, who was famous back in my day with Thai boxing. Darren and Kaylee Reese, pretty known. There's a few others as well. Saul Palele, I think, fought out of there. Any other big names from Perth that you can mention in as far as combat sports go?
Steve Kennedy, he's got a big name. He fought in the UFC. He's one of the legends in the sport in Perth. But yeah, as you said, legends of the game. To even be named amongst those guys is pretty cool.
Man, it's awesome. And so just wanted to know, man, you've been in the Australian scene. You've been fighting out of Eternal. You're the Eternal welterweight champion for a while there, and now you've actually stepped up a division, mate. You're into the Contender and into the UFC, man. It seems like you've come from a small pool until a big pool, man. Does it feel good or feel daunting or what?
No, I'm excited. It's just a new journey. You know, I started at the bottom of the Australian scene and I worked my way up, and now started at the bottom of, I guess you'd say, the world scene, and I'm going to work my way up. So I'm excited just to get in there and get the hands dirty.
Man, listening to your interviews, I've heard that you started off in your MMA career with 2 losses, and you and your trainer talked and you set a goal of, okay, we're going to hit 10 wins in a row now. Like, fuck the losses. They don't mean anything. We're better than this. We're going to get 10 straight. And it's pretty interesting how your 10th fight was on the Contender. You kicked ass and now you're in the UFC. So you achieved that goal that you set, right?
Yeah, 100%. Like we basically were on the phone straight after my second loss because he wasn't actually able to corner me. And yeah, we set the goal. We said we will get to 10-2, and we've just been slowly chipping away at it. And yeah, it's pretty cool that, I don't know, it just seems to have all fell into place. So the 10th fight was basically a guarantee. If I had a good performance, I'd get that UFC contract. So cool place to finish that goal, and then it's a cool place to obviously start the next set of goals.
That's it, man. And it wouldn't really be chipping away, man. You smashed your way through it, man. It's like submission, finishes. You had 9 in a row until your last fight, right? Which was a decision. But even though you did very, very well.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like my style. I'm always trying to get the finish. I look for the finish. I was even up in this fight going the decision for probably a good 15, 20 minutes after the fight. I was a bit down. I was always want the finish because I feel like that's just like it's sort of like the icing on the cake, you know, it just finishes it off nicely. But after, I was sort of happy. It was good to have traveled that far, had to spend so much time quarantining. So it was cool to get just extra cage time, 15 minutes in the book. So I think it all worked out for the better.
For sure, man. It gives you that extra experience in something you haven't really
Yeah, for
been to as
sure.
well. And one of the
Exactly.
good things is that your losses were against two different guys. One of them you avenged in your last fight in Australia, correct? Which you won by KO against Alden Bates, was it?
Yeah, that was it. So it was cool. That was also a cool way to like finish off the Australian MMA scene, I guess, of fighting in the Australian, or whatever you call it. But it was cool to finish. They get that last win in Australia in Eternal as my like first loss. So that was cool as well.
It's great to avenge it. And he looked like a pretty scary
Yeah,
character, man. He's a big, muscular guy, right? And you did very well.
but
You
yeah,
stuck him, caught him
yeah, he's
on the counter, right?
100%. He's an aggressive big. He's a good fighter. Hits hard. We just could sort of tell he's very aggressive, you know. So sometimes that can work to your detriment, and I think we had that. That's what we're expecting. So it was obviously awesome to get that win back.
That's it, man. Amazing. So moving from the Australian scene to the Contender to start with, do you find there was much difference as far as the promotion goes and how you're treated over there, or is it similar?
Eternal have been really good. They always treat you very nicely. It was the only difference, obviously, is just new country, so just different like people, that sort of thing. But they treated us very good. It was cool to be in that sort of. Obviously, it wasn't actually a UFC fight, but it was in the UFC Apex. Had that UFC feel to it. So it was just obviously seeing so many UFC fights. It's been a goal for a long time. So just to get that feel and be in Las Vegas was pretty cool. The only different, like, it was just interesting fighting without a crowd. It really was a weird feeling, you know. Like as soon as I entered the arena or the area, it was just dead silent, which was definitely new to me. But it was cool. It was cool to experience that.
Yeah, it must be a strange feeling, man, that you like the sound of the hits and everything. There's nothing like blending into the crowd. So you hear every single thing, right? You can hear your corner clearly. You can hear your hits. It'd be interesting.
Yeah, it was real weird. Like even just entering, like because we had to push the doors open, and as soon as you they were counting it down. They were making so they were like, you have to walk in 5, 4, 3, sort of building it up, and then I like pushed the door open. You expect to like feel the crowd or something, but there was just you open the door, it's just you could literally hear crickets. You know, it was dead. So that was a bit strange, but it was just another cool experience. You know, to see that. Might do it again. You never know, but I'll be ready next time. I'll be more expecting like that weird no crowd.
It'd have a bit of that, like a gym fight kind of experience, kind of feeling, right? That you're in a small sort of gym feeling.
Yeah, 100%. To be honest, as soon as the bell rang, it was sort of. I feel like it's pretty for me. I feel like when you're fighting, even in front of a crowd, like it seems like it's real silent in there. So as soon as the bell rang, felt like business as usual. But yeah, real weird. It was weird, just the whole atmosphere. No crowd was different.
So that was, I don't know how to say the guy's name, but his last name was Lusa, right? Zhang Lusa or something.
Yeah, I think it was Ange Lusa.
Ange Lusa. So Lusa was the loser in this case.
Yeah.
He was one of the Sanford MMA guys, right? Which is a decent gym in the States, and there's quite a few people fighting on the UFC roster that are from Sanford MMA. So he's no slouch, man. He looked very athletic sort of guy.
Yeah, for sure. It's a good, solid gym. You could tell he was a lot better than his last sort of fights we watched. He was a lot more patient. We're expecting someone who's a bit more aggressive coming forward, but he was a lot more patient, well trained. So it was for me, I think it was the perfect person to have a tough, good opponent to have that first sort of UFC-ish fight.
And you pretty much put a pace on him and just like drove the fight, right? And took it into your favor with your pressure.
Yeah, 100%. The plan was obviously he was going to be. We were expecting him to be a bit more aggressive, but the plan was if he was aggressive, we just had to put the pace on him and just land as many shots as we can and just try and beat him down. Is always sort of my plan.
And man, I saw a few things comparing you to the Diaz brothers, man. Is that something you like the comparison or you don't like that comparison?
I love watching it. I'm happy with that. Like I love the Diaz brothers fighting style. I don't think I'm the same as them, but yeah, why not? They're legends of the game, so can't be unhappy with that. But I'm definitely my own person.
Yeah, man. I think on one hand, they're a great person to be compared to. On the other hand, they're not, because after all these years, sometimes they have a bit of trouble getting sentences together, bro. So I think you
Yeah,
might
no
not want to
shit.
really just do what they do, right?
Yeah. I definitely don't want to game plan my fighting. I want to have I want to be able to string some sentences together at the end of this. So I
That's
won't like take their fighting style.
man. And from that fight, obviously pretty grueling fight. Did you get any injuries from that, or you scraped up all right?
No, it was all right. I had a little cut in my shin, and that was pretty much it. Apart from that, I was pretty good, pretty fine.
And did you get a chance to look at the UFC Performance Institute or any of these sort of places while you're over there?
Yeah, we came over 2 weeks early, which was nice. We just got acclimatized, and the week before the fight week, we were able to go to the PI pretty much every day, it was cool to see. It's incredible facilities. It's good play. Well, they really treated us well. We were able to train there whenever we wanted. Recovery was good, so it's cool to check that out. Real cool place.
And do you get access to like people and that there that can help with different things, like as far as, working with your strength and conditioning or diet or anything like that? Do you actually have access to that now as being part of the UFC roster?
Yeah, no, not before that fight. They just sort of let us in, train, do the recovery stuff. But I think now that, actually in the UFC, they give you food, they can give you supplements, and you can organize physio, PT, whatever you need through them. So it's pretty cool facilities, and they, by the sounds of it and like the looks of it, they like treat their athletes there pretty well, which is cool to see.
Is there any way you can access that sort of service remotely, like to get help along your journey, but you're obviously in another country, or that's something you can only do there when you're actually in the States?
I'm not actually. I don't. I'm not sure. I'm not really sure about that. I think it is basically only there. I know Casey. Saw Casey the 2 weeks before, and they treat like the fighters so well that she's actually moved out there and she's living there and training at her gym, and she sees physios and stuff pretty much all the time. Does her PT and stuff. Goes to the PI, which is cool. But yeah, obviously it doesn't help being in Perth, but it's a cool play. I think next fight if we're in Vegas, we'll know that we've got the facilities there. We'll be able to go out a couple of weeks earlier and like acclimatize that way.
And just have a listen to like quite a few of your interviews and just trying to get a feel for you. And I feel like a lot of your efforts and the things that you do are kind of just intuitive, like obviously all the training and that sort of thing structured. But when you talk about nutrition, you talk about strength and conditioning, rest of days off, things like this, you seem very intuitive, just like, I'll just go in my own direction, how I feel at the time sort of thing. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, 100%. I've always sort of just feel like at the end of the day, it is an individual sport. So if like you've just got to do it, see what feels right to you. If I don't like feel like training, I'm happy just to like sort of trust my feeling that like I know what I need for myself. Obviously, there's days where you don't feel like training. You've just got to get over that and get to training and put in the work. But there's also days where like you just got to go with the flow and see how you feel. And I pretty much go in that philosophy through everything, the recovery, eating, all that stuff. So yeah, I just go with the flow really.
Yeah, man, there's so much like talk about it and science about it these days with all those things, as far as, let's say diet as an example. There's a lot of things being posted. There's Jordan Sullivan, the fight dietitian. I kind of follow him pretty regularly, had a chat to him one day. And although, 80% of the work is done in the gym, etc., it seems like quite a bit of a difference can be made through the right dieting choices, as far as, eating the right food to fuel your training, and then also making it easier for you once you get to cut weight. Have you thought about like taking on anyone like that, or is that just something that you just haven't really considered at this point?
I actually do. This fight camp, there's a guy in Perth named Peter Miller, and they are condition nutrition, and he was real cool. He sort of just said, we had a chat. I sort of told him the same thing, like I'm just go with the flow. I sort of do my own research, that sort of thing. And he basically gave me like a layout for diet and like a whole nutrition plan, which is real cool. It gave me like the confidence that I can actually eat a little bit more than I thought I could to make the weight. And it just he made a huge difference, to be honest.
Yeah.
I always used to sort of cut the calories back, and training was a little bit harder knowing that you had to make the weight, but he sort of just gave and like backed up my trust that I can eat a little bit more, train harder, burn more calories, that sort of thing. So definitely something that I'll probably continue to follow his sort of plans. But yeah, there's always things you can do that, like other people. There's people out there that are smarter than me and probably have better understanding of that sort of stuff. So definitely, obviously, I'm happy to go with the flow, but also happy to take advice at any point.
Yeah, man. I heard you mention something about if you had to follow a strict sort of dieting plan, it would drive you a bit crazy. But it seems like, especially when I've listened to Jordan Sullivan, which is really the only guy I kind of listen to, he seems to be very willing with his athletes to give them the food that they want. And it's just like a trade-off, right? Like obviously, like you said, you have to work on certain things, but it doesn't sound like it's just calorie restrictive, eating boring food. It sounds like they actually eat pretty well, his guys.
Yeah, for sure. It was a similar sort of thing. Like I sort of told him what I like to eat, and he made the plan around that, which is cool. There's nothing worse than just eating shit that you don't want to eat and then having to go work out really hard. And it's obviously for you. I think the most important thing in fighting is to feel good and like feel good throughout, not just the fight, but even like training. So if you're eating good stuff, but like you hate it, you're not going to feel good. You're going to be a bit bored, but as soon as you can eat the like stuff that you're happy with and it's actually doing you a benefit, then I think there's a balance there that you need to find.
Yeah, man. And on the other side of things, the strength and conditioning, you also mentioned that you kind of like, again, just a bit intuitive on what you think you'd like to do. And you said you had a friend that was sort of helping you, but it didn't sound like a real structured sort of plan. Is it the same sort of thing still with that?
Yeah, same sort of thing. Again, this fight, I was had a bit more. Didn't have a full-time job going into this fight, so I had a bit more time that I could lay like more of a structure. So yeah, again, my friend Finley Johnson, he was sort of helped out us and the team now to put together sort of like a program, but same sort of thing. It is he gives me a plan, I look at it, and then I sort of add my own little like spice into it and just don't follow it completely strictly. I just sort of go with the flow, but there is that sort of structure there, if that makes sense.
Yeah, man. It's a tricky one, right? Like on one hand, obviously when you're doing something like MMA, there's so many skills you have to work on and so many different sort of things you can be working on. So how much of that do you dedicate or do you need to dedicate to strength and the conditioning is a difficult question. And a lot of people are contentious on this issue, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Obviously everybody has different needs. Some people would prefer just to smash out 4 conditioning workouts a week, 3 more like fighting style sessions a week. I prefer to get the more fighting sessions in, focus more on that and get my cardio done through like the sparring, that sort of thing. But we were pretty consistently getting a couple of like a few months before I was doing more strength and conditioning stuff, but when it gets closer to the fight, I just do one sort of strength and conditioning session a week, focus more on the fighting stuff. But everyone's different. It's like a weird one there.
And how much, how much of a difference do these things make? Like your diet, your strength and conditioning, like it must only be like a small percentage, but obviously when you get to the big league, it might make all the difference, right? If you come up against someone that is, the same level. So if you're eating the right thing, you might just have that little bit more energy or had a lesser difficult weight cut or a little bit stronger, right? Like it's not going to make the biggest difference, but it can edge you forward a little bit, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm probably more in the feeling that it's not going to make I don't think it's going to make the biggest difference in the world. It is those like tiny little percentages you're looking at.
Yeah. And then on the other side of things, the rest and recovery, you mentioned that you listen to your body, you take days off if you need to, but you don't really go crazy light. You might do something light. Do you do anything like ice bars, sauna, these sort of things?
Yeah, I do a bit of ice bath thing. I do a lot of saunas. There's a Dan Mini T Williams has a place near our gym called Altered States. It's like a float center. We hit that up all the time. I try and get in the sauna at least like 3 times a week, 2 to 3 times a week. I just feel, I don't know, it just makes me feel good. I've read studies that like straight after training, it's good to get in the sauna. It sort of keeps your body heated, and they say it's meant to help your cardio. I don't know, but it makes you feel good. So that's
Yeah.
pretty much as far as I go. Recovery goes. I do a lot of saunaing.
Yeah, man. The sauna, actually, have you heard of Rhonda Patrick before? She's always on Joe Rogan talking about saunas.
Yeah, I have heard it. Yeah.
Yeah. I was just listening when I was going for a run the other day, and she was saying about it being a good alternative for people that can't do cardiovascular exercise because they've got injuries. Just going in there, it actually kind of mimics that cardio state. So it's kind of cool. And as far as she talks, man, it's actually going to make you live longer. So if you can do something that potentially helps you recover and makes you live longer, then do it, man. Yeah. I've been hitting this one too. I really feel like
it feels like after you walk out and get out the sauna, it feels like you've done a hectic workout. So it must have benefits too.
Man, one of the biggest things I've noticed is since I've been using sauna, I get colds much less than I did before. It could be psychological, it could be just the timing or something, but it seems that my resistance to colds and flu is better than before.
Yeah, for sure. It must help like the immune system or something.
Man, I think
definitely good for you, I reckon.
Man, I wanted to also ask you, before you mentioned about your goals and that, so you had a goal of okay, we've got past these 2 shitty fights, we're going to hit 10. So you hit 10, but now you've hit the goal. Sometimes it's like people will say, I want to be a world champion. They get to world champion. And now what? What's your goal, man? Have you set the next goal? Is the next goal to win a UFC title, or what is the next goal?
To be honest, I want to set the next goal to be, we're in the same sort of blueprint with last time. I think the next goal, I want to try and get to 20 wins, 2 losses. I just want to get another 10 wins under my belt. Whether that is to a title, which I would expect so, but if not, that's pretty much my goal. Sometimes, obviously, if you set your goal for a title or anything like that, it doesn't always fall into place. But if I can just get back on the train and try and get 10 wins, then that's what I'm going to set it to.
That's a big goal, man. A big goal once you hit the big
goal,
leagues.
I know. It's a big goal, but I've done it before. I've backed myself. I'm going to do it again.
Yeah, man. No, it's good to set the bar high, man,
100%. Obviously, there's small goals along the way, but that is the big goal. You've obviously got to set those little small goals one by one, but ultimate goal is to get to 20-2 and then reset.
And man, on the thing of moving overseas and trying to fight, now you're going to be probably fighting internationally. Obviously, doesn't look like there's going to be any shows in Australia in a hurry. How did that feel? Does it feel better for you? More interesting to be in another place, another culture, different things to see, different people?
Yeah, for sure. I love traveling. So if I can go every time I've been away internationally for 2 fights, so this one and then one previously one, and to be honest, it feels like a holiday with a fight in the middle. So like if I can get paid to go away, visit another country and have a fight, which is 2 things that I love to do, then sign me up. Obviously with the world's a bit different now, but I'm hoping everything just sorts itself out and traveling is a little bit easier, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, man, it must be a bit interesting, especially, I don't know, for Perth, but for a lot of other parts of the world, we've been kind of stuck here. I've been in this country I'm in now for 2 years without leaving. It must be good to get up and get out of there for a little while.
Whereabouts are you?
I'm in Macau, China.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah.
And as far as links to MMA, we've had a couple of UFC events here, and we've had a few of the guys like Dan Hooker, Kai Kara France, a few other the guys starting out. We've actually had a few of their early fights in Legend FC, which in the actual where I actually work. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah, that is so cool. Wow, that's a cool place to be.
Yeah, man.
I'll have to go to China one day.
Yeah, if you ever swing by Hong Kong, come say hello, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Man, so looking back, far back, I know you started boxing when you were a young fella, around 14, I think you said. And and not long after you kicked into MMA. And you said something I thought was quite interesting, was that as a kid you used to like visualize fighting. So do you feel like that was your like a bit of a destiny sort of thing, that you just like that was what you've maybe made to be some sort of warrior?
I don't know. I'm not sure why, but I always enjoyed like fighting for some reason. I always used to picture it in my head. Like I'd always think about like defending myself if anybody ever like attacked me or anything. Like I don't know why, but I used to play just scenarios in my head over and over again of how I would be able to defend myself. And yeah, I think that I'm not sure why. I can't think of anything that ticked that, but it's definitely something that I've been intrigued and thought about for a long time.
And you kicked into MMA, man. So was that pure MMA, or was it broken into different areas? Like, were you training BJJ here, wrestling there, this sort of thing, or was it just pure MMA that you went into?
Basically, we went to Scrappy MMA was the first gym we went to, and that we MMA there were MMA classes, and so I jumped into those. But then obviously I was doing jumping into wrestling classes, jiu-jitsu classes, kickbox. I was doing a bit of everything. But yeah, definitely I wasn't so interested in like competing in anything else. My main focus was competing in MMA. So I was just trying to get as much experience with different martial arts as possible. And it was cool that we could just do it under the one roof.
Yeah, man. And have you competed in any other forms of combat sports at all? Did you try amateur boxing? Did you try wrestling? Any of these things?
I've competed in wrestling and jiu-jitsu, but no like striking sports.
Yep, yep. And in your fights, man, you seem a little bit boxing heavy. You said you like to throw down, you like to punch, you like boxing. Is that what your style is kind of based around?
Yeah, I feel like I have got decent grappling, but I feel like that's the first thing that you like when you start the fight, you start standing up. So it's something that I feel I enjoy the most. It's the start of the fight. If it goes to the floor, I feel like I can hang with anyone on the ground. But 100%, I love boxing. I love the sport, and it's definitely my favorite thing of fighting is standing and throwing punches at someone.
Man, it sort of drives me a bit mental, that old argument that you got to do grappling because it always ends in a grapple, but it always fucking starts standing at a distance. So
It
it just
always
doesn't make
starts
sense to even
standing.
say that, right? Because people
Yeah,
say it
hundred
always ends
percent.
up in that, but it always starts with some punching or kicking or whatever. It always
Yeah,
does. So it's kind of interesting, right?
they never start a fight in a grapple. It always starts standing. So I guess that's good. That's good for if you're a striker. That's a positive thing.
Yeah, man. Hey, and interested in what your feelings are going to UFC. Obviously, you've got in Australia, we don't have that same wrestling sort of pedigree that some of the other countries have, be it the Eastern Bloc countries, be it the American countries or America. I mean, how do you think you'll fare against these guys? Obviously, the guy you just fought was probably has some wrestling experience, wrestling ability as well, and you did him over. But how do you think you'll feel in that sort of competition?
Yeah, no, I back myself. I think I got good wrestling. He came from a good gym with good wrestling, so it was good to have a couple of scrambles and see like what if he had have gone in there and just got on top of me and flattened me out, then it would have been different. But had some scrambles, and I feel like I've even felt my grappling wasn't very good on the night. And but yeah, I back myself. I feel like we've got such a good team. I feel like the grappling at our team nowadays is so good. So yeah, I'm excited to see what it's like, see what all the talk's about.
Actually, on that, man, like obviously, we can train in our own country and you've got the people there, you're saying your gym's good. Most of the guys from Australia feel like they've got what they need. But will you ever consider going to any of those big gyms in the States or elsewhere that have like massive stables of, top level guys that are fighting in UFC, or you think 100% you're going to be sticking with what you have?
I'm pretty certain I'll be staying here. I feel like if I can't tick off the goals and be in the gym, and those goals just aren't meant to be. I'm definitely not. I don't want to go anywhere else. I've gone over to Thailand, spent like a month in Phuket top team, and it was cool. It was like cool experience. You get like the good sparring in. There's good, but I don't feel like it's the same sort of team. I mean, I grew up playing a team sport. I like having that team camaraderie, and obviously you can probably find that at some gyms, but we've got such a good team at home that yeah, I think that's all we need.
Actually, man, I've heard that mentioned before, guys saying exactly the same thing, that they've been to some of the other gyms and they're very competitive within the gym, etc. But they feel like they have a good relationship with the team and it's much more friendly at their own gym. So it makes sense, man.
Yeah, definitely. So obviously some people thrive in a gym where there's just killers everywhere and you're just like competing every day in the sparring. I get that. And then other people just thrive in a place where you can really learn from each other, trust everyone in the room. And I feel like I'm lucky at our gym because we do have a gym full of absolute killers, but everyone's there to get better and we're all trying to get better with each other. No one's trying to get better than everyone else. We just all bring each other up. So I feel like everyone's different, same sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I'm happy with our team.
And then once your career kind of kicks on, you might have the chance and opportunities to strike up friendships and get to some, more small stints at different gyms for a bit of fun, right, as well along the way.
Yeah, for sure. I'm definitely not opposed to like going to other gyms and trying to learn stuff from them. But yeah, I don't think I'd ever make the like fully commitment move and move somewhere else.
Yeah, man. You mentioned just before about you're in team sports. That's rugby, right?
Yeah, rugby union.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. I was talking to Jack Jenkins, maybe I can't remember 1 or 2 months ago, and he mentioned that he'd played with your brother before. Is that correct?
Yeah, I was a bit young when we moved to Melbourne, and obviously Jack's from Melbourne, and my older brother was his age, and they were playing. I think I can't remember what age, but some sort of state rep together, which was cool.
Man, and on the guys in Melbourne, I was just I've seen you got a haircut there, mate. A bit shorter hair than before, right?
Yeah, I trimmed it in the hotel prison.
I was in a hotel prison. It looks like a bit of a prison cut. I was going to ask you because Jimmy Crude and Jack Jenkins and that are all growing out mullets, and you're cutting it off, mate. You don't want to be part of that mullet team.
Maybe one day.
You could get it ready for your. You could get it ready for your wedding in March. I'm sure your wife would be very happy about it.
Yeah, she'd be stoked with a big red mullet.
Good, man. All right, man. One before we go, I just wanted to ask a couple more questions. One about your mindset.
Yeah,
interested in the mindset of guys like you that are up fighting against the very best. Like, how do you individually get through the lead up to the fight, and on the day, how do you psychologically prepare and get through it?
I'm pretty calm, I try and just obviously throughout the camp, I just try and do everything that I need to do for my body to be in like the perfect like shape, and my mind to be set, and I do everything with 100% with the focus of winning. And then sort of like when the fight day comes around, I sort of just try and completely zone out and just try and be completely in the zone and just react rather than overthink anything. So fight day, I'm pretty relaxed. I try just not to overthink anything. I just sort of say to myself, I don't really give a fuck about much. I just try and react. It's a weird sort of mind state. But I feel like the most important, like in MMA, the most important thing is probably decision making, and you can't really predict any decisions that you need to make. You've just got to believe that you can make the right decisions when needed. So I just try and be completely free from my mind.
Man, that makes sense. That's like kind of bordering on that flow state that people talk about, right? That you've done the hard work up until then. You have to trust that your body's willing to react and be in that fighting flow.
For sure. You just got to trust that you're going to make the right decision at the right time, and you just trust that your reactions are is all you need. So I try and just get it to that point. Obviously, it's a work in progress, and yeah.
Yeah, of course. And like you said, intuitive, so things can change along the way, right? And you said like sometimes you might wake up on a fight morning and you feel like going for sprints. Other times you might not, right? So it also depends on your mind state for that particular fight, right?
Yeah, for sure. I just sort of do whatever I need to do. Like some mornings wake up, try and get a blowout. And some mornings I just feel like resting until the fight. I try not to have any like crazy rituals or anything because sometimes that stuff doesn't go to plan, and you don't want to throw you off. So just go with the flow.
That's true, man. And is there any indication of when you'll be looking at being matched up for your first UFC fight?
Not hoping by the end of this year or start of hopefully in that December, January period, but nothing locked in yet, but hoping to get something locked in ASAP.
And do you get any chance of influencing who they choose, or at this point you just take whatever you can get? You hear me, mate? You there, Jack?
You there? Sorry, I think it's going a bit funny.
All right, man. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, bro?
Yeah, I think at this point, it's just take whatever I can get. I've never really worried about who I fight. I'm happy to, whoever they give me, I'm happy for,
And I heard you mention that you would like to fight Mike Perry. That'd be a bit of a barn burner, bro. How would you approach that fight?
Oh yeah, that would be a cool fight. You know, someone that's just aggressive and has a big name and would come after me. And I'd approach it as same as usual. You know, I just try and be sharp on the day and just trust that I've got the reactions to take him out of there.
And do you visualize like long-term goals like fighting Usman or any of these guys?
Yeah, for sure. I always like any fight that there's top welterweight people on. I like to watch it and just sort of see where if I truly believe that I can hang in there with them. And every time I watch them, I truly feel like I do. So definitely, I would love nothing more than to get in there with some of those guys.
And how would you look at that if you were to come up against Usman? What would be your take? What's the best sort of go there?
You know what? Same thing, man. I'd get in there and I'd just try and put the pace on him and just trust the reactions. Obviously, you'd have to be wary of his wrestling, but yeah, I'd just try and put the pace on him and just try and beat him up, start to finish.
That's the way. Hey, bro, I just want to ask one thing. I just wanted to ask your obviously big fight for me anyway, and in the media this week after all the attention that Dan Hooker got. He's coming up against Islam Makhachev. What are your feelings on the fight? Who do you think will get that one?
Makhachev obviously is an incredible, like, strong grappler. But yeah, I think I've seen some things Dan Hooker. Yeah, as I said, as he said, I don't think anyone's indestructible, and 100%. Whenever there's a Australian or New Zealand fighter going in, I truly believe that they'll win, and I back them 100%. So we'll definitely be watching that fight, and I think Dan Hooker will get that win.
Man, you look at the experience in the last, like, say 5 to 10 fights, and Hooker's fought some massive names, man. Makhachev hasn't quite fought those sort of names yet. So I think there might be a bit of a difference between them just in their experience levels, you know, and Dan's always dangerous, right?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Is it going to be a 5-rounder?
I believe it's only 3 because it's back in the card.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I agree. Dan Hooker's been in there pretty much with almost everyone in the lightweight division, have wars with some of the top guys. So yeah, Makhachev he's not very active at all, and he's like in a way he's like he's got that grappling and his striking's pretty good, but yeah, as you say, I reckon Hooker's got the experience to outlast him and outgun him.
That's it, man. All right, man. Well, I've kept you for quite a while today. I wanted to thank you for your time, and we're all looking forward to your journey, man. I can't wait till you have a fight, and we'll be supporting you, man. A couple of boys over here in Macau, China.
Yeah, beautiful. How good's that? Thanks, fella. I appreciate it.
All right, man. I hope that in the future we can catch you potentially leading up to after a fight in the future.
Yeah. No, 100%. Sorry about that. But yeah, well, before my next fight, we'll have a chat for sure.
Awesome,
if you're up for it.
Awesome.
Yeah,